Good morning, welcome to the Daily News Podcast. Today is August 18th, 2026.
President Trump is again rattling allies and adversaries at the same time. He said Oman could be bombed if it gets in the way of efforts tied to an Iran deal, a remarkable threat aimed at a U.S. partner that has often played mediator in the region. He also said the U.S. will reduce military drills with South Korea after Seoul stayed out of the Iran war, and claimed North Korea's Kim Jong-un has responded positively to his request for talks. Put together, that is a huge jolt to U.S. foreign policy, with pressure on Gulf diplomacy, questions about deterrence in Asia, and fresh uncertainty for allies trying to read Washington's next move.
That's a lot of volatility packed into one day. Allies in both the Middle East and Asia are hearing the same message right now: support is conditional, and the terms can change fast. In Europe, the war in Ukraine remains brutally active. Russia and Ukraine traded more deadly strikes, with both sides reporting civilian deaths, while Moscow also warned the UK over supplying drones to Kyiv. At the same time, Russia sentenced prominent anti-war politician Lev Schlossberg to 11 years in prison on charges of discrediting the army, in what critics call another political crackdown. So the picture is twofold: the battlefield remains deadly, and inside Russia the space for dissent keeps shrinking.
And that second part matters just as much long-term. A war can drag on militarily, but when dissent is crushed at home, off-ramps get even harder to find. Right. Moving to markets, the sell-off deepened as a key Treasury yield hit its highest level in 19 years. That matters because when long-term yields surge, borrowing gets more expensive across the economy and stock valuations come under pressure fast. Investors are also digesting heavy AI spending across big tech. Alphabet is reportedly seeking about $3.6 billion in its first Australian bond sale to help fund AI investment, while Microsoft and AMD are deepening ties in a move seen as a boost for chip and cloud demand. The market mood is basically this: investors still want AI growth, but they're getting more nervous about what it costs to finance it.
That's the balancing act now. Everyone wants the upside from AI, but suddenly the price of money is back in the story. On the tech side, GitHub suffered another outage, disrupting pull requests and general access and reigniting concern over how dependent the software world has become on a handful of platforms. There's also a more troubling security angle today. Researchers say an AI-generated GitHub Copilot autofix suggestion introduced a weakness that helped enable compromise of Snowflake's Jira environment. Add in Germany's competition authority saying Apple's app tracking transparency favored Apple's own apps, and it's a rough day for the industry's reliability, security, and trust story.
That GitHub piece hits developers where they live. And the Copilot report is exactly the kind of warning the industry has been expecting as AI tools move from helper to decision maker. Back to North America. The U.S. and Canada are holding last-minute talks to stop new U.S. tariffs of 50% on roughly $20 billion of Canadian goods. If they fail, this could hit one of the world's most integrated trade relationships and ripple through manufacturing and supply chains on both sides of the border. For businesses, this is less about headline politics and more about whether cross-border planning just got a lot more expensive.
And when the U.S. and Canada start fighting over trade, nobody gets to call it a regional sideshow. The supply chain consequences show up quickly. In entertainment, Marvel locked in a big one. Ghost Rider is set for July 2028 with Ryan Gosling attached to star and Sean Levy directing. That gives Disney a major tentpole years out and signals Marvel still believes it can refresh the superhero machine with the right character and the right face. Also in gaming, Kingdom Hearts 4 now has a late 2027 release window, which is a very loud heartbeat from one of the industry's most anticipated franchises.
That's smart franchise math from Disney. Familiar brands, big names, and just enough distance to build the hype properly. Also in brief, NVIDIA is reportedly investing $1.5 billion in a SoftBank-backed data center developer tied to an OpenAI project, underlining just how intense the AI infrastructure race has become.
And also in brief, a large number of Apple users reportedly received spyware threat alerts, a reminder that mobile security is still a frontline issue for journalists, activists, and other high-risk users. That's it for this morning's rundown.
Thanks for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow with the stories moving the world.
Have a great day.